Welcome everyone. While we wait just a minute for a few others to join us, please feel free to introduce yourself using the chat. Maybe you want to share which team you're on or which company you represent. So feel free to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Dave Phillips from UMass Medical School, Commonwealth Medicine, Web Benefit Clinician Recovery.
Great. Good afternoon. Thanks everyone who's introducing yourselves in the chat. We're going to get started now. Thank you so much for being with us today. For those of you who do not know me, I'm Julie Bowditch, and I am the manager of the Cancer Walk and community fundraising for UMass Medical School. While this is a new title for me, I've been working in some capacity with the Cancer Walk since 2012. I'm excited for a big year for all of us. A few housekeeping items before we get to the good stuff. Please keep yourself on mute during the program so we can focus on our speakers. Also, please do utilize the chat feature to ask questions or give your input at any time. We will answer questions throughout the program as we are able to. Our most ardent and loyal supporters are here with us today. You, our team leaders, our sponsors, our committee members, and some of you are wearing more than one of those hats this year. We have missed getting together with all of you and sharing with each other, so it is really exciting to see you all, even though it's through a screen. We're also honored to have several of our true heroes with us today, the researchers and their teams whose work is advanced through your hard work in fundraising and generosity in your donations. Those 4 team leaders of their research are Drs. Gerber, Green, Reedy, and Showit. Maybe they can give us a little wave if they're with us. I know some of Dr. Reedy's team is joining in her stead today, and we appreciate them. Most of us I know are wondering what the rest of this year might bring. Well, obviously I wish I could look into my crystal ball, but instead I will share what we do know. Your health and your safety are our utmost priority, and it is not lost on us that many of our walk participants each year are either undergoing treatments or in remission from cancer and might be extra vulnerable. We hope to see at least some of our supporters in person this fall. As some of you might know, and you can see on your screen, the UMass Med School campus is under some significant construction. So that is an additional factor in some of the decisions we have to make this year. What I can promise you is that you will all be the first to know as our plans evolve. We do have an exciting raffle prize to give away this afternoon. It's going to go to one of you at the end of our program. It is a Worcester Canal tour, food tour, for 6 people with a gift card to Table Talk Pies. We also have a very exclusive promo code you can see on your screen up in the corner there that you can use to help motivate your team members, maybe to register. They can use that code Kickoff at checkout to waive their registration fee and to get busy right away with their fundraising. This code will only work for a few weeks, so go ahead and pass it right along after our event today. Did you know that May is Cancer Research Awareness Month? How fitting that we are officially kicking off right now. Because of cancer research, many treatments are more effective and less harsh. Survival rates are also much higher. Thanks to you, that research continues to make progress. And speaking of cancer research, we have a fun little poll for you today. Let's see. Can everyone see that? Perfect. So what is the average number of clinical trials done at UMass Medical School each year? Feel free to make your best guess. We'll just leave it open for a few seconds. We'll all find out the right answer together. Not many people think it's 35. The rest of them are Well, pretty close. Give it one more second for everyone to get a chance. We're slowing down. All right, so looks like the correct answer is our winner. Can everyone see that? 110 is the average number of cancer clinical trials done at UMass Medical School each year. So that's pretty interesting. We'll be sharing some more things in a little bit. It is now my pleasure to introduce John Hayes to you. He is the Vice Chancellor for Advancement. He is our team's fearless leader and a strong advocate for all things UMass Medical School related, but in particular interest to us, this event. John?
Thanks, Julie. Good to see everybody. Right before I jumped on this, and I got on at 3 o'clock even, probably wearing Julie in the net, my fire alarm started going off downstairs. And then my dog started freaking out. And there is no fire, there's no smoke, there's just a faulty fire alarm that's been going off. But it did remind me of the bells that Nanette likes to ring. And ultimately, you know, we need to ring the bells. This is a fire drill for cancer research. And the cancer walk is so critical to our efforts. So thank you for being here today. As you may know, this is the medical school's longest running fundraising event. You and thousands like you have raised a lot of money since 1999, more than $14 million. That means our researchers, physician scientists, and physician educators have been able to focus on what we all want, which is better treatments and ideally a cure for cancer. As some of you know, my father passed away from pancreatic cancer more than 20 years ago. And since I think about him often, and now that I'm older than he was when he passed away, I know how important these clinical trials are to you and your family members. In a few minutes, you'll learn a bit more about some of the cancer research taking place here. And as you listen in, I hope you know what an important role you're going to play in that essential work. It's because of you that our UMass Cancer Center can make the strides in research. It's because of you that we can conduct hundreds of cancer clinical trials every year. So it's because of you that treatments improve and that people have hope now more than ever before. So on behalf of everyone at UMass Medical School, thank you for supporting the UMass Cancer Walk and Run. You help make our work possible. Well, thanks, everybody.
And thank you, John. I know that you speak for our whole team when you express your gratitude, especially to this group, our rock stars, as I like to refer to them. We do have another fun little poll for everyone to test your research knowledge again. Let's see. I've got this right. That is not the right one. No, I might need technical help. Nope, I've got it. Can you see it? Perfect. So what type of cancer research do you believe is being done here at UMass Medical School? Evidently, this one was not hard enough for all of you. We'll give you another second for everyone to weigh in. And can everyone see that? The results? Looks like almost unanimously, all of the above. And that is true. These three and many other types of cancer research are being done here at the medical school. I guess it was a little bit of a trick question, but you were right. Somewhere along the lines here, we should have bonus points for people who can pronounce some of these types of research, types of cancer. But yeah, so well done. That is accurate. Can everyone, is that gone now for everyone, I hope? Perfect. So we've also been learning a lot about cancer research, as you can tell, and we're going to hear a lot more about it from people who can not only pronounce the names of the types of research, but know much more about it than I do. Next, I'm happy to introduce to you Adam Webster. He's a volunteer steering committee member, a local radio, comedy, and sports personality, a colleague here at UMass, and a recent cancer survivor. Adam is going to tell you his story, and he's also going to introduce to you our own Dr. Jonathan Gerber, who holds the Eleanor Eustace Farrington Chair in Cancer Research, is Associate Professor of Medicine here at the medical school, Chief of the Division of Hematology Oncology, and the Medical Director of the UMass Cancer Center. I'm looking forward to hearing about both of their personal experiences. If you do have questions for Dr. Gerber or Adam while they're talking, please use the chat feature and stay on mute, and we will address them as time allows when they are done sharing. All yours, Adam.
There we go. We've unmuted. It's only been 16 months of a pandemic. I'll figure out Zoom eventually. There we go. Thank you, Julie, so much. Hello, everyone. And thank you for the kind introduction. So I moved to Worcester, yes, for a radio job in 2000. Some of you may have heard me on the air on the morning shows on 98.9 Nash Icon, also on the Pike and the XLO morning shows. But my story started in November of 2019, felt a little something on my neck, didn't think much of it. And around Christmas time, about a month later, I finally showed my wife and I said, sweetie, what do you think of this? She said, I think you should show a doctor. That's what I think. And my primary care physician really wasn't too concerned. He said it felt like a lymph node and it shouldn't be an issue, but he sent me for a CAT scan for peace of mind, and they didn't like what they saw. So then they sent me for a needle biopsy and still said it was probably no big deal. That came back showing atypical cells. So then they sent me to have it removed for a full biopsy and a day surgery. So by this time, it was 3 months later, February of 2020. And that's when I was diagnosed with stage 3 follicular B-cell lymphoma, which was a lot of words I had never heard, especially in that order, which essentially was explained to me as cancer of the lymph nodes. And after additional tests, I was told I had to undergo chemotherapy treatment, but I was assured that it was a very common, fairly common and treatable condition. And along the way, they discovered some other enlarged lymph nodes in my groin on both sides. That was causing some discomfort. And all of this happened, of course, as the world was shutting down from the pandemic, right? So on a positive note, we were all broadcasting from home, which I'm still doing. And local hockey fans might have seen me at the arena at the Worcester Railers games, announcing those games and having some fun on the ice at the Sharks and the Ice Cats back in the day. So didn't have to cancel any commitments because everything was canceled. And at my day job, yes, I work a lot. My day job at UMass Medical School in the Diabetes Center of Excellence, I've known that UMass has an incredible cancer center. So I didn't think twice about where I was going to go for care. And I know that they're a member of the Dana-Farber Cancer Care Collaborative. I also know that the cancer research at UMass Medical School is cutting edge. And there's a lot of crossover between the diabetes research and the cancer research and the scientists. So I had a head start on knowing how great everything was in this building on this campus. Now, after my first conversation with Dr. Jonathan Gerber, I knew I was in the best possible hands. And during that nearly hour-long conversation and every appointment I've had with Dr. Gerber over the past 15 months, he does make you feel like you're his only patient. And he describes in lay terms everything that's going on. He's always willing and excited to discuss available treatments and what's on the horizon, thanks to research and clinical trials. So after 6 months of chemo treatments and lots of blood tests and procedures, Dr. Gerber and his incredible team of nurses and everyone got me into remission. So knock on wood, I'll be there for a while. There were some rough weeks. I was literally on the floor at times between on-air segments some mornings, but I only missed 2 days on the radio during those 6 months. And that is because I wasn't trying to be a hero, or for no other reason than I was just not going to let lymphoma change my routine. Well, too much anyway. So while Dr. Gerber has been very upfront telling me it's going to likely return at some point, he always mentions new therapies and new treatments in the pipeline, thanks to research and clinical trials. And that's what makes this UMass Cancer Walk so special. And the money raised, the funds help research and new clinical trials and treatments. So now I'll let my interview mode take over and introduce, as Julie said, the Chief of Hematology and Oncology, the Medical Director at UMass Memorial Cancer Center, and the Eleanor Eustace Farrington Chair in Cancer Research, Dr. Jonathan Gerber.
Thanks everybody for attending, and Adam, thanks for hosting this and sharing your story. You know, I want to stress how much each of you supports this mission. And, you know, the fact is that every single dollar that's raised through the Cancer Walk goes through and is utilized either directly for research or for education, or in some cases for a combination of both. And the clinical trials that we run through here, those 100+ clinical trials that we perform a year, are largely funded through the funds raised from this cancer walk. It supports our research nurses, our research coordinators, regulatory personnel, and supports the costs of conducting these trials and getting therapies to patients. The funds also go for some laboratory research as well to bring the next level of treatments into the clinic and some even more promising things that we have available today. And then we also support some educational initiatives out of it, but literally every single cent of every dollar raised goes to those purposes. And the vast majority of it goes to support that clinical research to really bring you tomorrow's therapies today.
So Dr. Gerber, as you've explained to me, I'm a very inquisitive person. So sitting in that chair, I have your ear, so I take it. So I've asked you questions like, look, for every therapy, for every treatment that's out there right now, it started as a clinical trial. This takes research, that takes money. And you've explained that to me, but what types of current cancer treatments and clinical trials are on the horizon now, on the cusp, that you're most excited about?
So a lot of really exciting work afoot right now, and a lot of it going on this campus. Some of it even standing on the shoulders of those that did the basic science research. But as you mentioned, we stand on the shoulders of everybody that came before us. And that's patients, that's physicians, nurses, you name it, scientists in the lab. And so each one of these things has been often years in the making. What we're doing is accelerating that pace of getting things from discovery into patients as well. Some of the really most exciting therapies that we have now are actually taking out someone's own immune cells, reprogramming them to recognize the cancer cells and putting them back in to seek out and destroy. That's something that we call CAR T cells. That's a mouthful, chimeric antigen receptor T cells, or CAR T cells. And there's sort of a next level of even improving upon that is on the cusp of making its way into clinic as well. We're about to launch a number of those over the next couple of months here at UMass. And so really, really exciting therapies that have taken cancers that were resistant to everything under the sun, cancers that had returned after even some of our most powerful therapies, and still being able to actually cure people with these. So that's one of the single most exciting. And I think that's one of the things that we'll begin to see a lot of across the board in many tumor types. But a number of other exciting discoveries afoot, that there are a number of cancers that we really had very few options for, even as recently as the last 5 years. And we've seen in the last 3 to 5 years a litany of drugs approved. I mean, literally explosive, talking dozens and dozens of 50 to 100 drugs in the last 3 to 5 years approved, many of them in cancers that had no treatment options or no good treatment options, or at least no movement in decades. So a really, really exciting time. So we've got drugs. Many of these are available orally, so you can take them at home and avoid having to get needles and coming into the infusion center and spending hours, something you can attest to. Many of them are ones that have way fewer side effects. And interestingly, even though they may have fewer side effects, it might actually be more effective than the old heavy-duty traditional chemotherapy that we associate with so many different side effects. So a lot of excitement. This is such a promising time in cancer in general, and it's only going to get better from here. A very, very promising time here at UMass. We're right in the thick of that. And
then some. So I know UMass scientists and researchers collaborate with other scientists at major universities all over the nation and the world. But we hear so much about immunotherapy, which you just talked about, and RNA technology and gene editing and gene therapy. And right on the UMass Medical School campus, where you're doing your research and all of the other research is going on, some of the top scientists in the world in gene therapy are located right here in Worcester. That must be huge for collaboration to just pick up the phone and or walk across campus.
It is huge, and it's such a luxury to have the caliber of people that we do on campus. I mean, you'll hear from Dean Flott in a little bit, who's been a pioneer in gene therapy, and many of those techniques have been adopted into cancer to create and modify those immune cells to attack cancer. You hear from Dr. Green, who has done pioneering work in the discovery of some of the genes and the mistakes behind cancer, and then ways to target those without hitting normal cells. So sort of preserve the innocent bystanders and still get to your target. We'll get to see some groundbreaking research going on in the labs here. And a lot of this, a lot of these key discoveries either were made here or we've made advancements on them here. And then again, lots of exciting clinical trials where we're already putting these into play and people are beginning to benefit from these therapies as we speak.
So I know I'm one of the lucky ones. I lost my father. He was 65 years old to advanced prostate cancer. And I know since then, there have been so many advancements to therapies there that weren't there. He was on some clinical trials that didn't work, but now there's some new stuff. So that's what the research funds. And like I said before, right, the therapies take research, the research takes money, and that's what the UMass Cancer Walk is all about. And I'm lucky to be treated by you and know you. And when it comes back, I know who to call, and we're going to be working together as I get through this. But I could talk to you all day long and ask questions, but I think we need to move on with the program. But thank you so much, Dr. Gerber.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank all of you for supporting this. We appreciate it.
Julie, take it away.
Thank you both very much. Congratulations, Adam. Very exciting news. And thank you, Dr. Gerber, for not only your part in Adam's good news, but also for sharing your work with us today. So now I'm very eager, in fact, to introduce a behind the scenes virtual lab tour that is just for us. Lab tours, as many of you know, have always been a favorite component of our in-person receptions. They give us an insider's view of what's going on in those beautiful, bustling, bright research buildings all over campus. Along with being Cancer Research Awareness Month, May also happens to be Skin Cancer Awareness Month. So our tour will be of Dr. Craig Seal's lab, which focuses on melanocyte and melanoma biology. Dr. Seal is in fact with us today. Hi, Dr. Seal.
Hello.
Is happy to address questions related to his work. So please just put them in the chat either during the tour or as it's wrapping up. If you do have questions, it's very fascinating. So imagine some might. So please enjoy the tour.
Hello, I'm Craig Seal. I'm an assistant professor here at UMass Medical School in the program of molecular medicine and also in the Department of Molecular, Cellular, and Cancer Biology. And welcome to my lab. It's a little bit quiet in here today. We've got some people working from home. The main thing that we study in the lab is melanocyte and melanoma biology. And what you may know is that melanocytes, these are the cells in our skin that make pigment that gives each of us our own distinctive pigmentation. And also, these cells are the ones that give rise to the skin cancer melanoma. And we study melanocyte biology and melanoma in a variety of ways. One of the things that we do to study them is to use model organisms. For a lot of our studies, we use the zebrafish. And they're a useful organism for us because they have melanocytes. They have those same cells that are in our skin that make pigment. And the cells in the zebrafish are essentially the same as those in our skin. They develop the same way. They use the same genes for their development. And they can undergo the same pathologies that our melanocytes do as well. So these are adult zebrafish. And as adults, they grow to about an inch to an inch and a half long. What you'll see in here, there are 4 adult zebrafish in here. There are 3 males and 1 female. And you can tell them apart because the females typically will have a big belly. They're full of eggs there. And these are normal so-called wild-type zebrafish. They have those black stripes that run from the front of their body to the back. And those black stripes, those have melanocytes in them. And those are the cells, like I said, that we study. So you can see them here as stripes, but we also do a variety of things where we have to look at them more closely. And so we have a whole suite of microscopes that we use to study those cells at a very high magnification. This is a microscope that we can zoom in on those stripes of zebrafish, and we can look at individual cells in those stripes. And a picture here, you can see that each of these black dots right here, this is an individual cell. So that's one melanocyte. Each of those dots is one melanocyte that you're looking at. And a good thing about the zebrafish is that you can see them just by looking at an image from the outside of the animal. You can't do that with our skin because our melanocytes are below several layers of skin. Also, you can see that there are fluorescently labeled cells that are interspersed in between these melanocytes. And those are melanocyte stem cells, and they're very important for several reasons. One of the things that they do is they will make new melanocytes in response to melanocyte injury. So we're interested in them for that reason, because they're important in recovery in pigmentation disorders like vitiligo, which affects about 1% of the worldwide population. So that's a very common and important pathology. But also melanocyte stem cells, those are the cells from which melanomas arise. And so we're very interested in finding out how those melanomas arise, even from a single cell. What are the genes involved, and what processes occur in order to turn a single cell into a large tumor. Okay, so what I'm going to show you now is our fish room, and this is where we keep all of our fish stocks. And so what I often ask people before, when I have people coming through the lab, I often ask them, how many fish tanks do you think we have in here? And typical answers are on the order of, let's say, 5 or 10 tanks. Sometimes people say 100 or so. But as soon as I open the store, what you'll see is that there are thousands of tanks. And in those thousands of tanks, we keep tens of thousands of zebrafish. So we have tanks of different sizes. We have ones that can hold roughly 30 to 40 fish. We have ones that can hold roughly 10 to 20 fish. And then these little guys here, they're empty right now, but we use those to hold individual fish up there. And this is a very well-coordinated setup here. All of this room is fed with recirculating water. It gets pumped in here, and it's kept at the proper temperature, the proper salinity. All the conditions are perfect for keeping these fish healthy. And basically, if we can keep these fish healthy, it helps our research. So in some of these tanks over here, these are adult zebrafish, just like the ones that you had seen in the lab. But what we also keep on this wall is our nursery. So we will breed zebrafish and grow them up in this room. When we first breed them, we get little baby embryos. They start out as a single cell, just like a human embryo. And in the first 5 days, we grow them up in a petri dish. And basically within 24 hours or so, zebrafish grow and develop very rapidly. So after 24 hours, they have a beating heart, and then they have other organs that have developed. And so that's one of the reasons why people use zebrafish as an organism to study. And we have fish strains that develop melanomas. And they develop melanomas because they have the same genetic changes that you would find in a human melanoma. So the same genes are involved. And in the zebrafish, it's very easy to spot the tumors. So there are 2 fish in here, and one of these fish has a tumor, and hopefully you can see it. It's typically very obvious, so it's a black tumor there on the tail of that one fish right there. So with our model, we can learn a lot about melanoma biology, and one of the things that we've done in the lab is to identify new genes that are involved in melanoma, and some of these genes are potential drug targets. So one of the projects that we've taken pretty far along is now at the stage where we have shown that the gene that we've identified in zebrafish is very important in human melanomas, and we've actually developed a drug that targets that gene. And currently what we're doing is our preclinical testing on human cells and human tumors grown in mice in order to see whether our drug is effective in these preclinical studies. And if those studies succeed, then what we'll do is we'll look to move on to clinical trials. And so it's basically the funding that we get from the UMass Cancer Walk really helps with these studies. So we can take things from a very basic science level and take them through even to a point where we can start to develop drugs and hopefully do some clinical testing. And so the donations that you all provide through the UMass Cancer Walk are very important to fund these types of studies.
So cool. Thank you so much, Dr. Steele, for sharing your work with us and inviting us into your space today. As you can see, and as you heard, the impact of your support really is vital to the everyday work right here in our labs and beyond. If you do have questions about the lab or Dr. Steele's work, feel free to use the chat and we will circle back to them when we have a moment. So thank you so much. Sponsorships are such a huge part of what makes our event a success. Generally, they bring in about half of our overall revenues, and they've also introduced us to some of the most wonderful community partners, some of whom are here with us right now. Thank you to each and every sponsor. And a big shout out to those who have joined us this afternoon on this call. My colleague, Erin Phipps, is your go-to gal for any sponsor-related questions, and you can find her contact info in the chat momentarily. The other half of our event proceeds come in through individual and team fundraising, which many of you know a lot about. We simply cannot do this without all of you. We are energized and inspired by how long you've stuck by us in this fight against cancer. Speaking of which, we have another quick poll for all of you. Everyone see that poll? We're wondering if you know what the first year was that we hosted a cancer walk. Throw your best guess right in the poll. Ooh, interesting. So far, nobody thinks it was last year. We'll give 2 more seconds for everyone to weigh in. Awesome. All right, drum roll. Can everyone see the results? We have a winner, and it is the correct winner. $19.99. This is our 23rd annual event this year. Pretty wild. So now you can all go out and tell everyone what you learned today. $19.99, 23 years. Let's see here. So I also wondered, well, actually, we're gonna get to the other poll in just a moment. I apologize. First, I'm pleased to introduce to you Shauna Hazen from Rockland Trust and Sarah Risk from Absolute Group of Companies. They're both corporate team leaders. They're both steering committee members, and they're both personally invested in this cause. Shauna and Sarah are going to share about why finding a cure for cancer is important to them. And they're going to chat about what they've been doing over the last several months that's effective in motivating their team members and creatively wrestling up some fundraising dollars during what is a very unique time for all of us. So once again, please, I encourage you to use the chat feature if you have questions for Shauna or Sarah, or even if you just wanted to share some of your own upcoming fundraising events or ideas for this season. So I'll turn it over to you, ladies.
Hey everybody, I'm Sarah. I am the team captain of Team Absolute. This is going to be our 15th year walking, my 6th year as a team leader.
Hi guys, I'm Shauna Hazen. I'm coming from Rockland Trust. I've been part of the Cancer Walk for close to 10 years now. Just 2 years for Rockland, but my previous financial institution, I was there for many, many years as team leader and host of the team leader who took over my spot. Cancer research is very important to myself and my family. Unfortunately, the people who were close to myself who all lost their battle of cancer. Not everyone is like that. And thank you, Adam, for your story, because it is nice to see people come out doing well. So we do everything we possibly can to raise as much money as we can for research. So here at Rockland, we're a really large company. We have about 156 offices right now. And that's not even including our lending centers, our mortgage departments and everything. So we have about 3,500 employees in Eastern and Central Massachusetts. So to reach out to as many people as possible, last year's virtual event really made an impact. We had walkers on Martha's Vineyard, Nantucket, all over the Cape, Boston, everywhere. So we have a corporate fitness page that's played a big role in Rockland being able to spread the word on getting more walkers and financial dependence for UMass Cancer Walk. So last year was our first year, but we had about 25 people. So we're hoping to do much more this year. Some of the things that we're doing is casual fundraiser Fridays. So as a old school corporate bank, we do dress the part pretty much every single day. So to allow people to wear jeans on Fridays is kind of a big thing. So a couple Fridays throughout the summer, we'll do casual Fridays, $5 or $10, whichever someone prefers, will go straight to our Cancer Walk team. And we all have QR codes. So we can't openly ask customers for donations, but we made QR flyer codes so that we can put out. So if customers or businesses of our customers want to put our flyers out in their businesses, we would gladly accept all of their donations. So that seems to be working pretty well for us right now.
Thanks, Shauna. That sounds fun. We are definitely doing a lot of things differently since the pandemic for fundraising. We've gotten very creative lately. It's all about team building for us. I work for the Absolute Group of Companies here in Worcester. We also have locations in Ohio and now Charleston, South Carolina. And we've got sales reps and techs throughout the country. So last year, it was actually very exciting for us to get them engaged with us. And we had people walking in Ohio, California, Arizona, just kind of all over the country with us. So that was really something special. We fundraise by really email campaigns. We have a very broad reach, as I was saying. So we just ask for donations. It's kind of always been our thing. And last year, we've done some sort of creative fundraising with selling artwork. This year, we're getting into raffles. Raffles seem to be very popular this year. Raffles are including new Worcester Red Sox tickets, prizes, gift cards, things like that. We're also looking into sort of outdoor games. We're looking into a cornhole tournament. So that's been a lot of fun. The team's really excited about that. It's already started talk of what are the t-shirts going to look like this year, what color, where's the walk, which hopefully we'll have that soon. But yeah, so we're very excited about what we're doing. Walk day is so much fun for all of us. We look forward to it, to really get together, get to know everybody's families, and it's just fun to kind of do something all together outside of the workplace for us. So it's been a lot of fun.
Now, Sarah, I know that Team Absolute has a great history of doing the walk. Was there any trouble getting started? I know you've been at it for 15 years. Was there ever any difficulty getting people together and motivated to kind of rally behind this?
We actually never really had much difficulty. It actually started prior to my working here, and the company was very small back then. I think actually every single employee was engaged with the walk with us back then. Now it's very easy. People are very excited about doing it. It's something we look forward to every year. There's actually people that, ask when the date is as soon as they can, so they can save the date. A lot of people are into camping or racing, and they just try and kind of plan the fall around it. So it's been a lot of fun, and especially with the virtual element last year, it was really cool to be able to get more employees from further out of state to join us as well.
Shauna, how about you? I know Rockland Trust has been somewhat new to the Cancer Walk, but it's mostly been driven by your involvement. Did you have any trouble rallying people to one specific cause when you're spread out over such a wide area?
I was surprised to see the amount of interest that we got from people all over, especially Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard. It was a little shocking, but people were very interested right off the bat. Our team this year is growing leaps and bounds already over what we did last year. The idea of being able to get out and do the walk, whether it's virtual or in person, as a giant team is something really fulfilling for, you know, people within my company and myself. Rockland is one giant team. So to be able to do something, even walk at the same time, whether it's in a different county or an island or wherever, people really enjoy that. So far, everything is really good. And, you know, the great thing is people's families and friends can join us as well. So, you know, we may be Team Rockland, but we have other family members joining, kids joining, doing the run, whatever makes everyone happy. As long as people are joining and sharing on social media and asking friends and family for donations, we don't care how many people come or where they're coming from. All over the country is our idea.
Absolutely. That was the great part of having a virtual event last year, was that we were able to get participants from more states than we could have ever imagined and ever had in the past. I know that Julie had said earlier, if anybody has questions for Sarah and Shauna, they can put it in the chat, or you could take yourself off mute even and ask them live. Or you can even share something that your team has done or did do last year that worked really well and want to share with the rest of us. We would love to hear it. That's kind of one of the best parts of getting all of these great team leaders together. But I don't want to cut Shauna and Sarah off either. I just wanted to give that reminder to the rest of the group that we want to hear from you as well. So any other thoughts, Sarah or Shauna, that you want to share?
I was just going to say, especially in a work environment, to kind of get a team together. It gives you an opportunity to team build, get to know each other a little bit more on a personal level, know your coworkers' families, and it's just, obviously, it's a great benefit to cancer research and the community as well. I've met a lot of people like you guys doing what we do, so it's a lot of fun and definitely very worthwhile.
I see that Team Smile There's Hope is doing a clothing drive with Savers. They found it to be a great fundraiser. That's wonderful, Elaine. Thanks for sharing that. And if you want to tell us more, have you done it in the past, or if this is the first year? That's something kind of outside the box, and that's a great way to think about new ways of fundraising. So thanks for sharing that.
Actually, our team has done this now for 3 years in a row, and we have made quite a bit of money. I apologize for my little guy in here.
That's okay.
He wants to touch all the keys. But we have found that the community, especially right now, is looking to clean out everything. So this is the best year we have had, and we're looking to probably raise thousands of dollars.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing.
And if any team leaders or corporate teams or individuals are hosting something that's coming up, I know we have a whole bunch of really exciting events coming up over the summertime and into the fall. So I am going to share in the chat a link where you can click on it and you can see not only Elaine's clothing drive and the flyer for it, it has her cell phone number on it and her email address on it. And you'll also see an upcoming golf tournament. You'll see a whole bunch of other things that are coming up that different teams or individuals are hosting. So take a look at that link. And if you have something that you're doing, please let us know, because I can add it to that as well. So we want to make sure that everyone in the community knows. We can post on Facebook as well about your event. So, you know, that's what we're here for. We want to help you be successful, and it certainly helps us in turn. So that's wonderful. And if other teams or individuals have things they want to share or questions they want to ask to one another, by all means, please just go right ahead and drop them in the chat at any point. I really appreciate Shauna and Sarah and also Erin for just helping to share. I know that we've asked a lot of everyone over the last several months, and you've all really stepped up to the plate. So I'm pretty fascinated and I'm pretty impressed by all the different ideas, and really the creativity was always there, but now it's like next level. So it's been really exciting to see, and we appreciate Shauna and Sarah just helping us to get our wheels turning. So we did have a quick question that got dropped in the chat during that segment, and I wanted to go back to it because I think it might interest others as well. John had asked Dr. Seal, how often do you feed your fish and who feeds them?
Yeah, that's a great question. But before I say that, one of the mottos that we have in the lab, and I tell this to basically any student or researcher that comes into my lab, the motto basically is, if you treat the fish well, if you treat your fish well, they'll treat you well. So we really, it's very important that we keep them happy, because you know, we need them happy and healthy for the research that we do. And the best way to keep them happy is to keep them well fed. They get fed twice a day, and we have one of the groups, one of our research cores called animal medicine. So they basically grow up all the food, and they send somebody twice a day that comes over to our fish room and feeds them. I can tell you just briefly the kind of food that they get. They get the best food for them are brine shrimp. So those are little tiny shrimps. You may have seen them in sea monkeys, if you know that toy sea monkeys. So those are brine shrimp, and that's what they eat. They love to chase them around the tanks and everything. And they're really very nutritional for them. So if we keep them happy, they'll treat us well.
Thank you for sharing that. I know the whole setup is very fascinating to many of us, and it was pretty cool to get to take a look in there, even though you know, we can't all be there quite yet, but
next time around.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. You're always very gracious about inviting us into your space. Never gets old, I can tell you that much. That's great.
Thank you.
Julie, you're muted.
Thank you. I was waiting for that. It had to happen at some point. So now we got it out of the way. I was just saying that if anyone wanted to add any additional comments or questions, that they should continue to interact in the chat by all means. But in the meantime, I wanted to introduce you to Dean Flott. We're very grateful that he's able to be with us this afternoon. He is the Dean of the School of Medicine and also the Provost and Executive Vice Chancellor at UMass Medical School. Dean Flott holds the Celia and Isaac Haydak Professorship in Medical Education, and since joining the UMass Medical School team in 2007, Dean Flott has led numerous successful initiatives, elevating the academic stature of the institution. He is internationally known as a pioneer in human gene therapy. That is no exaggeration by any stretch, and it is my true honor to turn the floor over to Dean Flott at this time.
Great, wonderful. Well, thank you. And thank you all so much for joining us here virtually this afternoon. You know, it's a wonderful time for us to be getting together because, of course, it's a wonderful moment for all of us now. You know, I have to pause and mention that, you know, we really seem to be coming out of this pandemic together. We've made it through together. And the Cancer Walk has really made it through together and done so in just an exemplary fashion, really. I mean, I'm so impressed that this community that is the Cancer Walk community has held together the way that you have. And I saw that you received the TNG's Best of Central Mass Award for the fall fundraising event. So far from, and congratulations to all of you. So it is amazing, you know, far from kind of hiding under a rock during the pandemic, you guys really shone as a team. And we're really grateful to you, not just for the fundraising, but for how you have been so dedicated and inspirational to all of us here. And I know also to our scientists and other team members. I should thank and acknowledge Dr. Gerber and Mr. Webster and Dr. Seal for their presentations, and thank Dr. Green and Dr. Showett for being on the call. And if I've missed anyone, I also have to certainly thank Julie and her team. I did want to comment, I always have to comment whenever I have done, I haven't done it lately, but physical tours in the Sherman building, I always stop by the fish tanks on the 6th floor. Dr. Seal's zebrafish. I think I might have mentioned this to him one time. I had, when I was a kid, when I was 8, 9, 10 years old, I had an aquarium, and I love the zebras. And, you know, so it is a wonderful way to see genetics and science in a very literally transparent way. But you know, what our cancer center does is it spans the whole gamut, from using these very interesting, curious, scientifically model organisms that can tell us about the genes that cause cancer, all the way through to the clinical trials, which are trials, they are research, they are generating the evidence to support future treatment of cancer, but they're also access for patients to investigational therapies that really benefit them in the here and now. And this is the wonderful thing that a comprehensive medical school like ours can do. It can really go from the most basic to the most clinically impactful. And really the funds that the UMass Cancer Walk bring are indispensable to that. And they do help us across that entire spectrum. So again, just thank you so much, and congratulations for all you've accomplished over the years. I think tallies over $14 million now. And as I also said, you know, the inspiration that the partnership with you provides to our researchers is just also absolutely indispensable to us. So thank you for that. We're very pleased that as an aggregate in American medicine and in the world, and also here at UMass, the outcomes for cancer are continually improving. And we just want to say that as an institution, we're going to remain dedicated to further improving those in the coming years. So altogether, I know that we can do that, and we're determined to do that. So thank you all again for being a part of that, and we'll look forward to the fall event.
Thank you so much, Dr. Flott. I think everyone has said it, but it's been nice hearing different perspectives and just different angles about how this event really just impacts the research here at the institution. So it's been wonderful hearing from each of you, and I appreciate each of you taking the time and really just sharing your sort of inside scoop too. So I wanted to just remind everyone that we do have a promo code for you to use, for your team members. So be sure you send it out to all of your former team members or your new recruits or anyone in between. And we are actually going to pull our raffle winner at this time. So once again, we have a canal food tour for 6 people to give away, along with a gift card for arguably the best pies in the world. So I am going to turn it over to Erin to pull our all-important name.
All right, so I'm going to share my screen and use a wheel of names, which all of you have been entered in by registering and joining us today. And Patricia Cannon, congratulations. We'll be in touch to get you your prize.
Congratulations, Patricia. We will have, as many of you know by now, plenty of other things to give away. In fact, I'm going to share another one just in one moment here throughout the year. So just, you know, keep doing what you're doing, keep showing up, and we are excited to have you, and we'll try our best to make it worth your while. I just wanted to say thank you again to all of our speakers and all of our participants today and everyone who made this program possible. Thank you as well to our steering committee for their help this year. Maybe if you're on the steering committee and you want to give a quick wave, their names are all listed here. And we appreciate all of you very much. And thank you to all of you for spending your time with us today. Most importantly, we would encourage you to please try to eat at Texas Roadhouse in Lincoln Plaza between now and Thursday. There's an event that's running. Thanks to our committee for setting this up for orders today, tomorrow, and Thursday. That's the one in Lincoln Plaza in Worcester. So if you actually head over to our Facebook and Instagram accounts, you can share a graphic, a flat part of this flyer, and be entered to win a $50 Marathon Sports gift card. So make sure you check that out. Whether or not you go and get some Texas Roadhouse, please go ahead and share that so that we can spread the word. It does not need to be current supporters that can go, but they do need to mention the event and the flyer. So it's important we get that word out there. So that's really great timing. And just remember, we need your support more than ever before. Please do head over to our website at umasscancerwalk.org. We'll also drop it in the chat for you, umasscancerwalk.org, and that's where you can sign up. It's where you can donate. It's where you can get more information. You can always reach out to us as well. We're more than happy to talk with you. In fact, we love talking with you. It's our favorite part of the job. So get your team registered if you haven't already done so. I know a lot of you have. I see so many familiar faces and names, and I know that you've already hit the ground running this year, and that's pretty awesome. It's very amazing. You're ahead of the game, and I know it will give us amazing momentum. So stay tuned for updates for our plans for the event this fall, of course. And we do fully intend to exceed our $500,000 that we raised last year. And I know that we can do it because we have all of you. Cancer did not stop, and neither have you. So thank you so much for your ongoing commitment to this event. We really love to have it being with you today and hearing from everyone. And we hope that you have a great rest of your afternoon and evening. Thank you.